All right, next up, we have a longtime employee of Karen's. Karen Christensen is going to speak. Karen?
As you heard, most people know me as Little Karen. So yeah, I recognize so many faces. Sorry if I don't remember all your names, but it's wonderful to see you all here supporting Karen. And I was asked by Judy to talk on behalf of all of Karen's employees, and there have been so many over the years, and I've known so many of them because I've been here for so long, and I was like, of course, how could I not? Just talk about how much Karen has meant to all of us. So sorry if I get a little emotional. It's just a very emotional time. Working at Dairy Queen is honestly one of the best times of my life. It wasn't just another job to make money as a teen. Being part of DQ on Worley Road, it was more akin to being part of a second family, is really what it was. This place was my second home, and I really loved every minute being here. All of us who have worked with Karen took something from our experience working at the Queen, as some of us used to call it many years ago, and we are all better for it, for working with there. I actually almost didn't get the job when I first applied. I was 16, I didn't have my license yet, my parents worked full-time jobs, so I had to try to find something that was close to home. And I lived in Hunters Woods growing up, so the DQ was only a few minutes away on bike. And I remember my sister joked that I should work at the Dairy Queen because I was always here anyway buying ice cream with my friends. So I remember I was nervous. I dressed up in my nicest clothes, went with my dad. When we went for a DQ run, I asked for an application. And then as soon as we got home, filled it out and made him take me back to turn it in. And I was just so nervous and excited, and I really wanted to work there. And 2 weeks later, I still hadn't heard anything back, so I built up my courage, and I was a very shy young girl, so it took a lot of courage to build up. Went in, I talked with Karen face-to-face to inquire about my application, and it turns out, apparently I never filled out an application before, and the way I wrote it, it turned out she thought that I could only work on weekends, and if all of you might know, or people that have worked here or applied, she's always looking for people to work during the weekdays as well. So got that miscommunication cleared up, and I pretty much started that weekend. I can still remember how packed the store would get, how packed the store got that weekend. I was very nervous, just kind of thrown in there, didn't know anything. The whole place was filled with families. The line was out the door, probably down all the way to what used to be the White Hen right at the corner, now the corner pantry. And that was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, just completely packed. But Karen, throughout the entire night, she calmly taught me how to make blizzards, picture-perfect cones on Sundays, and I made it through my first weekend, and I never looked back since. And then she was pretty much stuck with me for 9 years. So in that time, there have been so many kids who have worked at the Queen, and I know I reached out to everybody I could, see how many I could get out here. Unfortunately, a lot of them live out of state, so they weren't able to be here, so they wanted me to let you know they're all thinking of you and everything, and they're all checking on you, making sure you're doing okay. Some only stayed for a season. There are others that maybe didn't last for more than a few weeks, but most of us were here for 3 seasons or more. Pretty much once you were at the DQ, you were set from high school through college, you had a job. And there was so much that Karen taught us, not only about ice cream, but how to be part of a community. To have confidence in ourselves, to be outgoing, to reach out and get to know all of our customers and be more social with them than just here's your ice cream, here and buy and everything. She was not only our boss, but she was also a role model. And though we were there to do a job, we would find ourselves opening up more to our fellow employees, forging those bonds with people we never thought we would be friends with ever, people that we might have seen them in the hallways at school, but we never interacted before. We were the DQ family. And even if members eventually left the Queen to go on and do some other things, we were all still part of the same group. And then new kids would start, and our family would just grow. I've worked a lot of different jobs over the years, but I've never felt that camaraderie and closeness that I did here at the Queen. It wasn't because of just one group of employees that I started out with. It was more like that family feeling went on for years with all different people, and in my heart, I know it was Karen. She's the one who instilled that feeling of family within us. She made us all better. She has such a knack for picking out great people to work there and turning them into really confident and outgoing people. And I'm going to let you in on a secret. Working there wasn't always sunshine and roses. There were hard times that we all had to deal with, and then put on those happy smiles, for the customers, just keep up, make everybody's there for ice cream. We didn't want to bring them down. I was actually almost fired one Mother's Day, a couple years into working at the Queen. I hadn't worked that Friday or Saturday, and I didn't even stop in, which is amazing for me. I didn't even stop in for ice cream. So I had no idea that there, all this chaos that had befallen the store that weekend. I was scheduled to open on Mother's Day. I'd gone out with my family in the early morning for breakfast, and then I misguidedly laid down for a nap. Turned out I woke up at 11:50. I was supposed to be there at 11:45, so I was already 5 minutes late. I rushed to get myself together and out the door, hoping that Karen wasn't going to be there and that I could just kind of skate through the opening and be fine. My heart dropped, though, into my stomach because I saw her mom's yellow bug out in the parking lot. And I just was like, oh no. So I came in all apologetic, trying to explain what had happened, and she just let me have it. I was terrified. I was afraid I was about to lose my job, and it, just being an emotional teen, I started crying. And then she started crying. And I'm like, what is going on? So then she told me about how our power had been turned off for over 10 hours or so that Friday night. And we had lost all of the pre-ordered Mother's Day cakes, and we do a lot of pre-ordered Mother's Day cakes that people are expecting. So she spent all weekend long remaking all these cakes, remaking all these novelties, and I had no idea any of this was going on. So me being late was kind of like that final straw that kind of put her over. So we kind of cried some more, and then we kind of laughed it off. She kind of laughed the whole thing off, and we never spoke of that day again. I was just kind of like, all right, I'm just gonna forget that day, and then we just moved on. I know that everyone who has worked for Karen has some story about a time where they messed up. Karen had to talk to them. It honestly felt like a mom sometimes wanted to talk about what you did wrong, telling you she was disappointed in you, which is always the worst, and what she expects from you in the future. So it's that was always the worst when she called you back to the desk. So oh no. But when she talked with you, it made you want to do better. It helped others and helped the others around you do better because you wanted the Queen. It was her livelihood, and you wanted it to succeed, and you wanted to be part of that. And she would always remind us for all of our pre-summer meetings, that this was her livelihood and this is what she expected. And it's that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to achieve that for her, to make it as great as possible. Now, while my almost firing was a very terrifying moment for me, it was losing John. That was one of the worst things that probably has ever happened for the Queen and to all of us that knew him. We are here to honor Karen today, but I couldn't also not honor John in his memory at the same time. I wish that more of the crew who worked with John during those 2 years were able to be here because they have some amazing stories of their time with him. And he was a really, really amazing kid. I remember how enthusiastic and how smart he was. He loved to play. Do play on words for certain amounts of change that he would get back to customers. Anytime there was a change of 6 cents, he would say it as 6th cents, as in the movie. And then he would pause and he'd wait to see if any of the customers or anybody around him kind of picked up on that and just kind of see what happened. One of the worst parts of that day was actually having to call Karen and tell her about what happened to John. And I remember she was at a play that evening, so I was there running the store, and I was trying to call her. I couldn't get a hold of her, and I finally, when I did, it was just, I remember crying a lot, being almost incoherent on the phone as I tried to explain that John had been hit by a train and he was gone. And that was just, I just remember we all kind of pulled together as a team, and it was just a very horrible experience. And that was the year that I actually ended up leaving the Queen for a while. I can tell you that it was because I needed, at the time, a full-time year-round job, but the truth is, in my heart, I couldn't be there anymore, knowing that he wasn't going to be there. It was really tough. And I couldn't handle that loss at that time. But yet again, it was Karen who showed us the way to move on from our grief, to turn our sadness to something positive, to bring that awareness to youth suicide, and not shy away from talking about him. She was still there every day at that store. She had to be there to remember him and remember all those memories of him being there, and just like little things that would remind you of him, people coming in to talk about him, asking questions. She was still there every day. And she's an amazingly strong woman for it. And I wish that I had been as strong at that time and found a way to stay there a little bit longer, to be there for my family. But working at the Queen was honestly, like I said, some of the best years of my life. Ups and downs all together. I wouldn't have wished for it any differently. I can never thank Karen enough for everything that she's done for me, truly for all of us. Thank you, Karen, for giving me that chance one April day to be an employee of your DQ, to be a part of a crew of so many wonderful people over the years. Thank you for listening to our problems, for getting to know us and our families, and for all the generous graduation gifts, time off for vacations, and year-end bonuses that you have given to all of us over the years. Thank you for being the big Karen to my little Karen, and giving me a job to help support me when I had to leave college. Thank you for making the Queen the neighborhood place to be for so many kids after school, for families to celebrate their birthdays, for teams to come and celebrate their big wins. Thank you for still being you through all the hard times, being that person that we can look to as a mentor. You have touched the hearts of many over the years, and on behalf of all your employees, past and present, know that you are always remembered and you will always be loved by us all.